After the Philadelphia 76ers' Game 2 win over the Brooklyn Nets, you would think Joel Embiid would be enjoying the win, but instead, he was calling out Raptors head coach Nick Nurse. In today's video, we're going to go over exactly what he said and react to the disrespect that seems to be completely unwarranted. Let's get into it. If you guys don't already know, this is Amateur Hour TV. It is the second channel in Amateur Hour Production Network. My main channel is Amateur Hour Sports, where I go over Raptor-specific stuff in more professionally done videos 3 or 4 times a week. But in this channel, it's just extra stuff that I want to discuss. And this is something that I want to discuss. So if you guys find yourself enjoying, hit that like button, subscribe for more content just like it. All right, Sixers the Sixers beat up the Brooklyn Nets yesterday in one of the worst offensive games I've seen in a very long time. I think the game ended 96-84. Yeah, both teams staying under 100 points. The Brooklyn Nets well under 100 points. Was not exactly a great watch from a neutral perspective here, but Joel Embiid, I mean, you'd think Sixers up 2-0 in the series. The Sixers have had all these playoff problems in his time with the team. And you'd think he'd just be enjoying the win, enjoying being up 2-0. I think the Sixers are on their way to a series sweep at worst. I think they're going to win this series in 5 games. You'd think he'd just be happy about the win, happy about the performances, the possibility of him winning the MVP. But instead, in the post-game press conference, unprompted, out of nowhere, Joel Embiid decides that he's going to call out Nick Nurse. So let's listen in to exactly what he said here. This was from Mike A. Scotto on Twitter. And yeah, Nick Nurse caught a bit of a stray.
Yeah, I mean, that I saw, after the game last time, they kind of took the Nick Nurse route of begging for free throws and calling out the referees, and that did come out, and they got a lot of calls, which I guess is good for them.
First of all, and as many people in the comments of this tweet are saying, first of all, that's Joel Embiid upset that other people are complaining about officials and complaining they're not getting enough calls. That's Joel Embiid complaining about other people asking for calls. Joel Embiid, who has built up quite the reputation of complaining about not getting calls. And going all the way back to a series from last year against the Raptors, like a little bit of self-put down here, but the Raptors aren't even in the playoffs. Why is he going all the way back to Nick Nurse here? I think the term rent-free gets thrown around way, way too often in 2023, where we are today, way too often. But I think in this case, it kind of applies here. Shouting out Nick Nurse, calling out Nick Nurse in a press conference here is pretty crazy in a series against the Nets in the first round of a playoffs the Raptors aren't even in. That is actually insanity from Joel Embiid. If you guys didn't catch exactly what he said the Nets took the Nick Nurse route, begging for free throw calls, calling out referees. Then they come out and they got calls, which I guess is good for them. Very strange to also, I mean, even beyond just the Nick Nurse thing applies to Raptors, which kind of gets me into the mood of talking about it. But as far as the comments go, the Nets took 17 free throws yesterday against the 76ers. The Sixers, by the way, took 16, so the discrepancy, there is none. Joel Embiid himself took 8, half of all of Sixers' free throws. And to be fair, they were doubling him. And he also said specifically, then they came out and they got a lot of calls. Well, the Brooklyn Nets in the first quarter of this game, in which they came out and got a lot of calls, took 2 free throws. 2 free throws. Mikal Bridges took them both. So not a lot of merit to exactly what Joel Embiid is saying here, but I think the biggest thing that I gather from this as a Raptors fan, like the Raptors, man, they have toyed with this guy for years. Like I know the Sixers beat the Raptors in the first round last season, but even still, like the Raptors have gotten to this guy. They had obviously the 7-game series in 2019 where the Kawhi Game 7 shot goes in, Joel Embiid seen crying, going off the court, like that was just the start. 2020, I believe it was 2020, may have been late 2019, but the next season, Joel Embiid has the goose egg at the Scotiabank Arena, dropping 0 total points in an entire game. He played full game against the Raptors. He had 0 points against his father, Marc Gasol. Then obviously last year the Sixers beat us in the playoffs, but the Raptors, they have their fun. They have, they cause a little bit of turmoil, and ultimately they lose in 6 games. But I mean, like unprompted, the question was just simply about the game, about the free throws, and he went to Nick Nurse completely unprompted. Nobody brought up Nick Nurse to him. And yeah, the first comment is Nurse has been a tenant in this baby's head since 2019. I mean, look, Joel Embiid is a phenomenal player. Not discounting how good of a player Joel Embiid is. And there's a lot of players in the NBA who complain about free throws. A lot of players. And yeah, for sure, the Raptors were upset about the officiating last year in the playoffs, at least in some of the games. Not all of them, from my perspective, but some of the games I was upset about the officiating. Some of the games, like, we literally could not play defense without fouling, without getting calls against us in regards to defending Joel Embiid. So, I understand the frustration from other teams here, but like, of all people, Joel Embiid to call out the other team for complaining about calls, like, that is extraordinarily ironic. And as far as a Nick Nurse part of this whole ordeal, like, I mean, it just kind of showcased the Raps have gotten to this guy. Like, sure, they beat us last season, but Joel Embiid has never played in a conference final. The Raptors, obviously, in 2019, won that NBA championship. It's a championship that I think the Sixers would have won had they come through in that Game 7, but they didn't, so they still have not played in a conference final. They haven't played in a conference final since, I guess, Allen Iverson days. I don't think they've played in a conference final since then. Joel Embiid obviously trying to change that. And look, the Sixers have a championship caliber team. Absolutely have a championship caliber team. Like, if they won the championship this season, it would not shock me. That team is built so well. The issue for them is going to be the fact that as much as they're a championship caliber team, I think they're the third best team in the NBA, and they're also the third best team in the East. They've got to deal with the Bucks and the Celtics on the way. I think they fully have the capability to go and do that. I think the Sixers is the best Sixers team they've had since 2019. That was the best Sixers team. I mean, that team was just crazy, the one they had that the Raptors beat in 2019. But this is an excellent team. I think it's tailored, best suited to Joel Embiid. This is the best team Joel Embiid's ever had for his game, for his sake, because no Ben Simmons, a lot more floor spacing, a lot better passers like James Harden within the team. So I think this is the best team, and this is the best shot Joel Embiid's got at getting to a conference finals and getting to an NBA championship, I think. I don't know if they'll ever have a better shot with the 76ers in Philly. But of all those things going on, of all the greater things going on here for the Sixers and for Embiid himself, who may win MVP, like, he'd have my vote, he's still worried about the Raptors, and he's still worried about Nick Nurse. So that shows you the effect that the Toronto franchise has had on this man. The torment they must give him mentally every single day. Enough on that. Look, maybe Joel Embiid's in my head because I'm still talking about him, but he started it here. And I wanted to react and make sure you guys saw for yourself exactly what happened here. But that's it for Amateur TV. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more additional Raptors content just like this. Around my head right now are all of the links to my other channels as well. Amateur Sports, my main channel for Raptors content. Amateur Clips, stream highlights from my streams on Amateur Sports, and my betting content on Amateur Hour Bets. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you again next time for another video. I've been posting here a lot more often, so get on board, get subscribed. I'll see you next time.